What's up, guys? Hope you're doing good. So as you know, at Elite Physique Training, we're first and foremost coaches, and we're always sharing with you the best tips, best exercises, best nutritional strategies to look great naked, whether it be for the bedroom or the bodybuilding stage. Today, we're actually going to do something a little bit different. And that's because, as well as coaches, some of us on the team do actually compete as well. So what I'd like to do today is have a sit-down interview with Coach James, who is actually a few days out of his last competition. He's got a competition this coming weekend, and then there's more in the diary after that as well. So he's got a busy show season. So today's video really is going to be covering the strategies that James is using right now to peak for his shows, but also the nutrition strategies around the dieting as well involved within that, and taking things, let's be honest, taking things to an extreme with his body shape. We're also going to touch a little bit on how that might differ from photo shoot prep, for example. You know, we do a lot of photo shoot preps at Elite Physique Training, and things will slightly differ from that. So guys, you know, stay tuned. Lots of nuggets coming up in this one, especially down that nutrition front. What's a good one to ask to start off with? So James, first off, so tell me a little bit about your own background with regards to competing. Like, when did you compete the first time? What kind of inspired you? What maybe physiques did you look up to, and what did you want to emulate? Just tell us a little bit about that.
So I was actually never interested in bodybuilding. The people in the gym always bodybuild, and this was never a thought of mine. I was into football. I played since the age of 5 years old, and then I became a PT. So I ran a transformation challenge, and I gave out prizes of free PT sessions, free class sessions, free clothing and stuff. So just a package for the winners.
Yeah.
So the clients had to take a picture of a newspaper to show the date, and then we did 4 weeks transformation, who could do the best one. So I thought, let me get involved, let me try and motivate everyone, just let me join in. So I got involved, I started to watch what I was eating a bit more. I didn't have as much knowledge on nutrition, but quite simply, you have to create a calorie deficit to look better. So I was monitoring my food portions, I was eating more vegetables, I reduced carbohydrates, which is naturally what people first think to do. And then in 4 weeks' time, I had like a six-pack. Posted on Instagram and inspired those of my clients. They did really well. And I just got messages from just people I knew who had competed or did compete. And they were like, oh, you look like you could do a show if you just dieted a little bit more. So I had a friend at the gym who said he'd help me out. Right. So I think I dieted properly for a prep with someone's guidance for about 4 weeks further. And then I did my first show. It was actually one of my biggest achievements to date, which is kind of weird because I've won shows. But this first one, I actually came third, but out of a lineup of 17.
Oh, wow.
But I didn't know how to pose. I didn't know what I was doing. I was so scared. Before the stage, I'll always remember the nerves got the better of me. So I had some vodka, I had some pre-workout, it all foamed up, I necked it. I was puking before the stage, just butterflies. But then once you go out there and you're on there and the lights are in your face, it's just go time. And yeah, I got third out of 17. And
wow. Yeah,
from there I did a show the following weekend. Just because it was just there, it was for why not have another go. And then since then, every year, I think other than COVID, I've just competed since then.
Wow.
Until I got to a size where I couldn't do football as well. So at this time I was doing football and bodybuilding, and then I slowly get bigger, and then playing football I started to pick up injuries all the time. So I made the switch, and here we are 10 years later or so, 8 years later.
Wow. Yeah. So was there anyone in particular that inspired you to go down that men's physique route, or was it just more of a natural, like, you know what, I'm built for men's physique, you know, that's the look I like? What kind of inspired that route specifically?
Yeah, I was a football player, so I was quite slim. And I was in the gym and I was training on my clients and myself, and it was like calisthenics and muscle ups, and so I was always quite slim, and that sort of I fit that category. Over the years it has grown, the category I have grown, but I'm still within that limit. I don't really like that bigger.
The blockier look.
Yeah, you get a
the
lot
mass
of attention.
monsters you
Yeah,
get now
walking
as
down the
well.
street, just I know how uncomfortable it is as well.
Yeah.
So tying your shoes, breathing, walking the stairs, it's not something that I appreciate it on stage, but it's not something I want to do. I'm already heavy enough.
Yeah,
as I
and
am.
it's about you at the end of the day, and the physique you want to emulate and how you want to feel as well yourself. And I'm sure you're probably not quite as good at playing football as you used to be, but I'm sure you could still run around if you wanted to, because you're not some giant mass monster that's got to be heavy on your toes all the time.
Yes, I have played. When's the last time I played? About a year ago, I did play. I was very different to how I moved before, but I could keep up.
Yeah.
And it was at a fairly good level, semi-professional level. Definitely got tired a lot quicker, but I could still play. I could still run. I wasn't a hindrance to the team.
It's always a bonus not being a hindrance.
Exactly. Get him off. He's too big.
So you touched on it a little bit earlier. What are the biggest dieting mistakes that either you did or that you see for those first-time competitors, or whether it be a competition or peaking for a photo shoot or whatever? I know you mentioned about carbohydrates and reducing carbohydrates. You mentioned about you had some pre-workout before going on stage. Do you still advocate that? What are some of the biggest mistakes you tend to see?
Biggest mistakes. Typically, people just go, I'm reducing my carbs. And they'll have their calories at, on average 2,000, let's say. And then they'll drop them down so quickly, so rapidly, and then you get to like this baseline of 1,000 calories. And yes, you've lost a ton of weight, but then where do you go from there? There's not much wiggle room. Whereas if they steadily bring down the calories, steadily lose weight, they've still got room to carry on progressing. Definitely would say carbs are not the enemy. One of the most important things to track while doing any prep or photo shoot or just live training and stuff is your gym performance. And we need carbohydrates to fuel a good session. We need carbohydrates to repair and refuel after a session. So carbs are not the enemy. I think the key is having them at the right times. And just not being afraid of them, really.
So do you time your carbohydrates at the moment? So if someone said to you, okay, James, I'm thinking about having most of my carbs around training, do you think that's a good idea? Or do you prefer more of an even spread? From an ideal world perspective, what do you see as working better? Or does it not really make too much of a difference? It's according to how you feel, really?
I think it depends on how many carbs you have for the day, like allocated.
Available.
Yeah. So let's say we have 300 carbs for the day and we're still making progress. We're still chipping away at body fat. Then we can space them through the day. But as you get to the deeper ends, the depths of prep, when you get right to the end and you've got that last little bit of fat to come off, your carbs are typically, not everybody, but typically much lower. So when you're at that stage, I feel like the best time to utilize the carbs is before and after your workout. Simple, fast digesting carbs, get into your body, fuel your workout, get a good session in, feel good in the gym, and then replenish after.
So just to give people an idea, and just bear in mind, James is an individual, he's unique, so don't copy his exact macronutrients and calories. That's gonna be what works for him right now at this stage. What did your calories and macros look like at the start of prep? Did they change much throughout? And I'm sure, prep brain right now, you might not remember everything, but what did they look like at the beginning? What do they look like now? Were there many changes along the way? You obviously touched on carbohydrates coming down, etc. But what did that roughly look like?
What you said first was interesting because you said not to copy my diet. I can't even copy my diet from show to show or even from year to year or season to season. We actually monitor things day to day at the moment because your body changes so much. So I've had a show a few days ago, I've got a show coming up. Things change and you have to adjust your food accordingly. But the other part of the question was, where do my calories sort of start? I was in improvement phase, so bulking. This off season, we kept things very tight. We didn't push calories crazy high. The previous year, I think I was about 5,000-6,000, I think. But this is me blending Cocoa Pops, just to get it in. I literally couldn't eat any more food.
And how much do you weigh in the off season?
Last year, when we pushed to get as much size as possible. I hit 110 kilos.
Okay.
But that's like in the evening, I've got a meal or two to go and I'm falling asleep because I'm so full up.
Yeah.
That's on blended Cocoa Pops, which is not ideal. But saying that, in the past, I've actually blended chicken and stuff, which is
Literally whatever to get it in.
just get it in. But I don't recommend it at all. Don't do it.
Yeah, that's commitment.
But now I'd say this off season just gone, I reckon we was about 4,000 to 4,500 calories at the peak. And we're down to about, I want to say about 2,000 on a training day, and probably a little bit below on a rest day. And that's mostly coming from protein at the moment.
Right. So what's your protein number at the moment then?
Protein, I reckon, is about 300.
Okay.
0 on a carbs, 0 on a rest day.
Yeah.
On a training day, my carbs this week are about 80, maybe just a bit under 80.
Yeah.
And that's just split before and after workouts, but we're just trying to get right down this time.
Yeah. So what are you using at the moment around what does your around workout strategy look like? Do you, because I know obviously, you've only got so many calories spare. Some people do choose not to drink their calories, and that can go to the extent of not drinking their whey protein after workout because you'd rather have some total 0% Greek yogurt or something just to fill some gaps. So what's your strategy around training like at the moment with regards to nutrition supplementation?
So around training, pre-workout, I'll have my normal meal, which is chicken, typically chicken and vegetables, salad, and then I'll have a small bowl of cream of rice, really fast digesting, really easy to get in. During the workout, I'll have coconut water just to replenish electrolytes, EAAs, and some salt to get a good pump on.
Nice.
And post-workout, I do have whey protein and more cream of rice.
Yeah.
But I did used to have quite a lot more whey in my diet, but they've been swapped to egg whites and chicken just because...
Food volume.
Yeah, satiation is... You want to stay happy as possible because it just makes it a little bit more pleasurable and makes you want to actually do it. Whereas if you're starving all the time, you're not going to enjoy the process. You may get to the end goal, but will you want to do it again?
Yeah.
Maybe not.
See, I know you're quite, I always say this a lot about my IFBB Pro clients. They're robots. You can tell them what to do and they will just do it. They will execute. If you tell them to eat chicken and dust with every meal, they will eat chicken and dust. And you're very much got that mindset in that you can eat fairly plain, boring, repetitive foods, especially in these deep stages of prep. But are there any kind of strategies you use at the moment with your foods to kind of make foods a little bit more palatable? Do you still keep sauces and marinades in your diet? A cheeky bit of Nando's sauce in your diet, does that stay in there? Do you make quirky recipes with things? What's your approach when it comes to that?
Personally, like I did a few weeks ago, I did make the effort, and I had some of my cream of rice or my oats at the time. I would have 0 calorie sauces, some salt and some cinnamon just to make it taste nicer. The chicken breast was seasoned. I would use Nando's sauce or hot sauce, chili sauce, those sorts of things. But where we've got to now, and it's not necessarily because of what it does to my body, it's more so for convenience and time. I just cook. I buy cooked chicken, I buy boiled chicken, it's in the freezer, I defrost it, there's no seasoning on it, I cut it up, I put my veg in, put some salt on, a little bit of chili sauce, and I'm good to go.
It's
really
done. It's just convenience, isn't it? Yeah.
It's a lot of time to cook that amount of chicken. I'm having 350, sometimes more chicken per day. Wow. And it's just a lot of time to cook, and time is so important, especially.
Absolutely, and you've got a family, you've got a young family, and things like that as well. You need to fit that in your life. So,
exactly.
People that always come up with these excuses of I've got a young child or something, I can't get in shape, I can't make it to a few days a week to the gym for a few hours. There's the proof's in the pudding there. He's inarguably he's doing the hardest thing as far as a physique transformation goes, and taking his body to an extreme, and still got a young child, family, a full-time job as well. It can definitely be done for all those people that kind of have excuses. Give me and I've got a few. Give me your top 3 or 4 diet hacks, diet foods. You mentioned like Nando's before. Are there any, sauces, marinades that you like? Do you use any like the skinny syrups and things like that? Maybe not necessarily now if you're a little bit more plain, but like from a general dieting standpoint, are there any that real savers in there?
Okay, here's what I actually still do. So I have my cream of rice, a post-workout cream of rice, cook it in the microwave. I make it quite voluminous, so a lot of water, put it in the microwave, keep cooking it in the microwave, and then I'll make my whey into a paste.
Okay.
So a little bit of water in with your whey, mix it up, and I'll put that on top. A bit of salt and cinnamon, so it's like a chocolate sauce on top of cream of rice.
I love that.
Yeah,
I also, another one, so if you're doing like cream of rice or oats, really volumizing it, almost like cooking it a couple of times in the microwave, mix it up, and again, mix it up. Even like, I don't know whether you do it, like add some egg whites in between as well, just get some extra volume in there. It's just about maximizing that food volume for the amount of calories that you have, isn't it? What's your take on, the whole skinny syrups, skinny sauces and things like that? Because there's a lot of, I suppose it's more old style bodybuilding dogma around sweeteners and things like that around competition. Now, everyone's body varies and different people respond to different sweeteners in different ways. But what's your personal approach around that? Do you deal well with sweeteners? Do you not mind? What's your kind of approach?
So I think it was up till about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I stopped using skinny food sauces, syrups and stuff like that. Even the savory chili ones, those ones, but they've still got the sweetener in. I found me personally, I don't digest them well, so I find bloating, just a little bit of discomfort, which is not ideal at this time. When your body's doing what it's doing now, it's a lot more sensitive to certain, or mine is a lot more sensitive. But I find a lot of my clients, if you digest it well and you're fine and it keeps you happy and you're good, by all means go for it. But on the other end, you've got if you have that taste of chocolate sauce, does that set the trigger off that I need chocolate? So you have to bear that in mind, and if that's the case, then you just remove it and you just remind yourself it's coming later, you know, after the show, after the shoot, whenever it is, or holiday, you get to enjoy that and more. So
Absolutely. I think it seems to be a bit of a thing of the moment, the hashtag if it fits your macros, type of thing where, and don't get me wrong, some people can get into really great shape using that approach. Just for people that don't necessarily know what we're talking about, it can be, I don't know, mixing some protein powder into some Greek yogurt and then putting a load of crushed Oreo biscuits on top because it fits within, within the idea of the proteins, fats, carbs, calories that you want within that meal. Do you personally advocate that? Do you find it works well for you, for your clients? Do you try and steer people away from it? I know you mentioned about is it a brain trigger for some people to want to eat more? What's your kind of personal approach on that?
I watch a lot of people who compete in the industry, and I know a lot of them do if it fits your macros and they get in great shape. But for me, and I think it's because of my take on it is how I sort of treat my clients, unless they were adamant they wanted to do it another way, and I'm happy to do that. But I prefer a structured meal plan, because then at least we know exactly at this point in the day you've had this meal, that meal, and every day is going to be the same. So if you look in the gym, you're in the gym and you look amazing after 2 meals, you're going to look amazing after those 2 meals when you go on stage. So we could just replicate that. Whereas if you're changing meals every day, changing meal timing, changing all the different food sources, you don't know what's going on and you have to figure it out a little bit. And I think it also takes away, when you're on prep, like you said, prep brain is real. Your brain's not functioning as it normally would. So why not take away one of the stresses and just follow your set meal plan? It's there, that's what you're supposed to eat, get it done, job done.
100%. It's something you commonly see, and I do think, if someone's, especially, someone's relatively new to nutrition, they're relatively used to eating certain foods, more junk foods and things like that, and they want to get rid of their first 10 pounds or something, sure, it's a great approach, but the more you need to, or the closer you get to being, at your ideal shape, that being in that top 1% of physiques, the more you'd really have to dial it in and And a large part of that is understanding your own body and how you respond to things. And that's why, I mentioned, and I keep saying it, how do you approach things? Because, how you approach things with your own body might not necessarily be what you advocate to your client, because another thing might work better for a client, for example. I do just want to touch on, although it's not really training I wanted us to discuss, I do just want to approach that, because obviously the nutrition is one side that helps create that caloric deficit, but then we've got the resistance training side of things, the strength training side of things, and then we've got the cardio side of things as well, which all kind of make up that three-pronged approach. And your nutrition obviously is laid out in a certain way based on your output as well, and what you're expending over an entire week. So let's just start out with how active are you outside of the gym? Because that's a big one that people don't cover. You might be like, I want you to lift 5 days a week and I want you to do 5 times 20 minutes of cardio, but you compare that for one person that's highly active compared to another person that sits at a desk all day, completely different. So that person that sits at the desk all day is asking themselves all the time, well, they're doing the exact same as me, similar degree of deficit, similar exercise plan, similar amount of cardio, but how comes they're losing body fat a lot quicker than me? So we can't compare things. So just first off, what's your daily activity like outside of the gym?
So I'm a PE teacher first and foremost, or at the moment, and so my output it can be fairly high if I want it to be. So I'll take the kids out, we'll go on the field, and they might be doing laps. I'll walk the lap while they're running. I'll walk while they're playing, football or tennis. I'll walk around observing them. Whereas if I wasn't in prep, I would still be walking and moving, but I wouldn't be as conscious about doing the laps, getting the steps in. Because all it means, if I don't do it at work, I'm going to have to do it tonight. So I try to just stay as active in the day as I can. I'll park further from the supermarket. You might get a few hundred extra steps, but they all count.
So there's that massive awareness in what you're doing as well, that conscious effort just to take the stairs instead of the escalator, walk that extra distance, park the car a little bit further away, that people don't often consider in that calories equation as well. So cardio, what's your cardio approach like right now, and has that differed versus like the beginning of prep?
So now we are on 40 minutes, so 45 minutes in the morning, fasted cardio. Then on a training day, I'll do 10 minutes on the Stairmaster. And then in the evening, I'll do another 40 on the bike again. But that's probably not typical of someone. But because of time, and because I've got a young son, time is more important. So there was a stage in prep where my steps were 15,000 and I was doing one set of cardio in the morning, one set after the gym. But then I'd have to do an extra 6,000 steps in the evening, which is an hour. Whereas I'd rather go on the bike for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, get him to bed and I can stay in the house, get it done, rather than walking around, have to wait for the missus to come home. And so it's just about making the plan fit you and your lifestyle. So it's about balance and just working with a client. So
is that largely the reason why fasted cardio? Because you get out the door before he's awake maybe and get that done? Or do you see extra benefits yourself to doing it fasted? Do you prefer training fasted on an empty stomach? What's kind of your personal approach to that? And then also, what do you tend to advise to clients? Do you generally see a better result doing fasted cardio versus non-fasted cardio?
There's a lot of research on fasted cardio versus non-fasted cardio. There's not much difference in it.
Not much in it, is there?
No. But I think when you get up in the morning and you do your fasted cardio, you sort of tick the massive box of your day. So you feel that sense of relief and you feel like you can enjoy your day somewhat, rather than you got to work with, I've got cardio to do, I've got training to do, you've got a massive thing done before the day's even started. So you could enjoy your day somewhat. But no, I don't think it matters if it's the morning or the evening. But it's just,
and it's the same. Like it's, you can pull out as many PubMed papers, research papers as you want to, and be like, fasted versus non-fasted, it's the same. You burn the same amount of calories, or you burn the same amount of fat, over a 12-week period, whatever. However, if fasted puts you in a better mindset for the day and sets you up for the day, well, then you're going to actually get far superior results over, say, a 12-week period doing fasted versus non-fasted. So it's not just about the physiology that's happening, it's about what's happening in the brain, isn't it?
It's about psychological. If you can be happier and feel happier with your day and happy about the process and not be dreading going home, then why not take it? Because it's the sport in itself, as physical as it looks, is mainly psychological. So you have to find the way to make it fit your lifestyle the best way possible.
100%. And the last question, as I said, I didn't want us to go too much into it, but it's good to get a baseline of where we're at and what your approach looks like. Your training, your lifting sessions. So how many days a week are you training at the moment? What's your training split look like at the moment? And how have you, what changes have you seen with your strength over this period? Have you managed to maintain strength? What's generally happened there?
So my training split at the moment is I've got a push session, one pull session, a leg session, I've got an arm session, and then I've got a shoulders and arm session. But that's because the main goal this season has been to improve my shoulders and arms. So they got a bit more frequency. Exactly. The training plan hasn't changed from off season. I've progressed all the way along into prep. Have sticking points. But I feel like it's more because of the energy. So you come in the gym some days, you've been at work all day, energy is low, you're not gonna lift as much weight as possible. The goal is still to do that, and you get the best contraction and the best lift you can do, but you're not necessarily gonna lift the same weight, which is fine. But the only difference I really have done is leading up to a show, like the last week, we sort of wanna relieve fatigue. So that's when we start to reduce cardio a little bit. The sessions are not to failure anymore because you can cause inflammation, which we don't want to see on stage.
Yes.
So we still want to keep the muscle there and still want to keep them activated, but we don't want inflammation on the stage. So we just reduce the fatigue all the way into the show.
So it's about peaking at the end of the day. It's about looking your best for those few hours and then looking like a fat person afterwards.
Well, literally that, because you go on stage for maybe 10, 20 minutes and it's actually about peaking for that. You could be fat before, you could be fat after, no one cares. As long as that 10 minutes you're on stage, that's all that matters.
And that's why it's important to understand your own body. And that's why so many people mess it up as well and look better the day after, or the day before, or a pro level pre-judging looked horrific, and then suddenly they've flexed for an hour or two or whatever. They come back and they look their leanest and cut and almost look like a completely different physique.
Exactly.
So understanding your own body, is massive key to that. One final question really is, obviously, what we do, we provide, online coaching services for, to anyone that looks great naked, whether it be for contest prep, for a photo shoot prep, whether it be to, look great naked on the, not naked on the beach, you get arrested. But
depends what beach.
Depends what beach, true. What's the difference that a coach makes to that process? Obviously, there's so many people out there thinking, I can get in great shape. I've read this online. I know this diet's gonna work best. I'm gonna calculate my calories in MyFitnessPal and follow those. I'm gonna download this cookie cutter training program, whatever. What's the difference that you see? Because obviously you have a contest prep coach as well. Coaches need coaches. What's the difference that a coach makes within that process?
An online coach is there to create a custom plan for you, for your lifestyle, for your job, for your family, and base things around you. So if you are contest prep, things are a lot more regimented, like we've discussed with myself, and then it sort of goes down from there. So if you're doing a photo shoot, you're a bit less regimented, you might have a few more free meals, and if your lifestyle, you're a little bit more flexibility again. But the principles are the same. If someone wants to lose weight, you're trying to create that calorie deficit from the three prongs that we mentioned earlier. But with my lifestyle clients, they'll have a free meal every weekend.
Yeah.
It gives them an opportunity to have time with their family, to enjoy the process, but it's still, because of their goals, we still make sure they're making progress through the week.
Yes.
So steadily, we want their strength to improve, we want their body fat to come down, but they still have the room to have a bit of flexibility. Sometimes I might advise a cleaner meal, like a steak and chips. sometimes it's free. You've done so well, you've lost, so much weight this week, or, you've got an event. So you go enjoy yourself, and then we get back to work. In terms of the training plans, like I mentioned again with myself, those plans that you see online, cookie cutter plans, are not built for you. They're not built for, maybe the injury you're carrying or the goals that you want to achieve. Not necessarily, you might just say get ready for a beach, but you might want your legs to look different, or your legs are a different starting point to that person. So our training plans are created to fit your goal and fit your needs. So we've had clients even this week message and say, I've hurt my groin. So we've created training plans to do a little bit extra in the upper body for the next few weeks to allow their groin to recover, but they're still able to make progress towards their journey.
And that's the difference, isn't it? Working with a coach who actually, you can communicate with. A big part of coaching, it's people to people at the end of the day, and we're big in terms of communication and getting, looking at client data and how they're progressing, make sure that they're ticking all the boxes they need to along the way, making sure that every time they set foot in the gym, they've got the plan, they know exactly what they're going to do. And whether they be, someone that's only been going to the gym for a few weeks in their entire lives, or, an IFBB pro or something like that, they know exactly what they're doing in the gym. Over time, ticking those boxes will get them from where they are right now to ultimately where they want to get to.
Also, I forgot to say, with a coach, like ourselves anyway, we provide video analysis.
Yep.
So you've got this plan off Google that says do a pull-up or do a squat, but if you're doing it wrong, you're going to create more injuries, you're not working the muscles you want to, whereas we have clients send the videos in, we can send tweaks back to them, what they need to do. And if exercise doesn't fit for them or doesn't work for them, we can change it and make it more feasible and make sure we're making progress, because that's what we want at the end of the day.
Absolutely. And I think that's a great place to kind of finish this. It's all about making progress at the end of the day. We're all putting time and effort into the gym, into our meals and deciding what we're eating for the day and things like that. And we just want to be getting the results at the end of the day and achieving that level of body transformation that we all want. Everyone, even if one person might regard that person as having the best physique in the world, that person with that great physique, in their head, they're still not where they want to be. They still want to transform their physique to another level and take things to beyond that. So thank you guys for tuning in. And you'll hear more from myself and Coach James soon. And just be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel for the latest updates, and just so you don't miss anything.